Hey, I'm Chris, and welcome back to a Madman Big Finish review, a video series where I review some of the latest Big Finish releases. For this one, I'm going to be talking about Gallifrey War Room 2 Manoeuvres, the second box set in the Gallifrey War Room series. Now, this is comprised of 4 stories. I'm going to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. So, what were my thoughts on Gallifrey War Room 2 Manoeuvres? Wow. I was pleasantly surprised at how good this box set is. Now, I enjoyed the first one. I've been enjoying a lot of the Gallifrey series. I've listened to all of it, so I've experienced the journey of all these characters, and it's still going with War Room 2, with the War Room series. But this box set in particular for the War Room series is amazing. I enjoyed every story in this. I was, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised at how great this box set is. You know, I would say I'm not really expecting much. You know, hopefully I'm getting like good stories when I listen to a new box set, but you know, sometimes I can be surprised, sometimes I can be disappointed, and this is definitely a surprise because every story in here, it's just more than solid. They're great stories. So the first story, starting it off, our opener, Collaborators by Catherine Armitage, is fantastic. I think it's a really, really good start to set up this box set because there's parts of it that tie into at least the last story. So it comes back around with the last story, but the setup, Leela is still trying her best to kind of do the best to fight honorably while still kind of imprisoned in the war room. Now that she knows that Narvin is alive, Narvin is with the Resistance, trying her best to help him as much as she can without making it worse for herself and making it worse possibly for Romana, since Romana is still imprisoned in the pocket dimension. So seeing how she views the rest of the Time Lords now that she's in this scenario, it's very similar to like Cass from Night of the Doctor, where she views the Time Lords and the Daleks as equally bad. They're both terrible in this war. So with Leela, you get a very similar view. She knows that some Time Lords can be good. Like, obviously Romana, you have Narvin, and she's warming up to the General, especially in this box set. She's warming up to the General, but currently that with whoever's in charge of the Time Lords now, which is Rassilon, the Time Lords can't be trusted. They're not going to be this benevolent force that's going to be the embodiment of goodness and greatness for the universe. So she's trying to help Narvin and the Resistance because they seem to be much better to her. To her, they are more beneficial to the universe than the Time Lords right now. So I really enjoyed that. A lot of the new characters that are introduced throughout this box set, but in Collaborators, really enjoyed those. So moving into our second story, which is Remnants by Georgia Cook. Now we kind of divert away from Leela and we give more focus to the other characters in War Room. So the General, Rasmus, and to a lesser extent, Veclin in this story. So they've lost contact with an outpost that is currently being attacked by a Berserker Dalek. We've heard of the Berserker Daleks before, but we now have an image of it, courtesy of the cover art for this box set. So, you know, a Dalek is terrifying by itself, but now we have a Dalek that is a tank. It has a Gatling gun death stick, and instead of a plunger, it's a saw. And they can reconstruct themselves from anything if they sustain enough damage. Terrifying. So the General, Rasmus, and Veclin go on this mission to see what's going on. They're all there for their own reasons. More so, with the General, it's personal because there's the character of Cresta. He has a connection to her, so he's there for personal reasons. Rasmus, more for like the betterment of Time Lords, but for Veclin, it's for Illustra because she's loyal to Illustra, and the outpost was experimenting with weapons, so they could be beneficial for the war. They don't want to lose them to the Daleks possibly, so Veklen's there to secure the weapons for Elistra. But having the General and Rasmus take center stage in the story, I think is great. It's great to explore more. It's more than just, as you know, as much as I love Leela and Narvin in the Gallifrey series, like it's now becoming more than that. So exploring more of like the other characters, we sometimes get like appearances in like different Time War series, so like War Doctor, Eighth Doctor Time War, etc., etc. That's great. So especially with this story with Remnants, giving a bit more exploration and development of at least the General and Rasmus is great. Also showing there's a good scene with I think it was with Rasmus. I'm recording this review a couple of weeks after I've listened to it, so I'm trying to remember the best that I can. There's a good scene where a Time Lord wants to sacrifice himself because he believes this is how he will be remembered, as this hero to the war. But I believe it's Rasmus who says he doesn't want that. It's more than just being a hero in the war, like to just pointlessly sacrifice yourself because that's expected of you, and you'll be this big hero that will be remembered just for this one sacrifice, for this one little sacrifice. There is more than that. Your life has more meaning in this war. So I did enjoy that scene. Now moving into our third story, Transference by Theo Treathaway. So a scientist is injured and Narvin is involved. Narvin is back on Gallifrey, has more of a connection to the scientist that is injured and also the possible murderer. So Narvin takes kind of a bit center stage in this story. I think it's great. Like, of the Gallifrey characters, Narvin is probably one of the best. Just seeing how much he's developed from like back in the first series. You know, he's the shadowy, you can't trust him coordinator of the CIA. Then he becomes the more trusted confidant to Romana and Leela, to becoming one of their best friends, and now he's a resistance fighter, fighting the good fight, not wanting to fight for the Time Lords because he knows how much, the political side of it is kind of like tearing into each other. Everyone has their own motives. It's not always beneficial for not just the Time Lords, but for the universe as a whole. So seeing how much Narvin has developed, it's great. So that we have a story that kind of, he's more the focus in it. He has also a personal stake in this story. So that's what I really liked about Transference. And the story itself is fantastic. I really enjoyed the Transference. It's going to be tough. I'll get to it to the end, but it's going to be a tough one picking my favorite story off this box set, but I'll get to that later, because we still have our finale, Ambition's Debt, again by Catherine Armitage. So, like I said, this is connecting from the plot points from the first story, Collaborators. And as I forgot to say that in Transference and also in this one, Transference and Ambition's Debt really are pushing Elistra as the antagonist figure for Gallifrey War Room. She's the one loyal to Rassilon. Essentially she's there as his figurehead while he's off doing his whole thing. We can't always have, as fans of calling him Hot Rassilon all the time. So she's there as like his voice, the figurehead to represent him in the war room. So that's what I really liked about Transference. She has a great moment in Transference, like villain moment in Transference. So with Ambition's Debt, she's now pushed more to be the antagonist of the series, and everyone's trying to like find a way to one up her to get her out of the war room, because she's only there for Rassilon's interests and it's not beneficial to everyone. So continuing on from plot points from the first story, bringing all these characters together to try and one-up Elistra. And again, not only does this give Elistra more time to like shine as the antagonist, this is also a good testing of Veklen, because she's shown to be very loyal, much like how Elistra is loyal to Rassilon. Veklen is very loyal and devoted to Illustra, and it's this story in particular is testing that, showing that it's not a two-way kind of dynamic or relationship. So I really like that. Like this box set as a whole, just giving, you're introducing all these new characters as well, and they're great, but also giving each of our main ones, our main characters, Leela, the General, Narvan, Illustra, Rasmus, Veclin, their time to shine, them being center stage in each of these stories. And that's what I liked about this box set. Like, I would say there's no weak character, there are no weak aspects to Manoeuvres. Like, everyone is just great in it. Everyone is utilized well to their part in the plot, to how they are to their characters, to their development, all of that. That's what I really enjoyed about Manoeuvres. So, Ambition's Depth, the finale, is oh so good. It's really, really good. So if I had to pick like my favorite story in this box set, it's tough because I really enjoyed Remnants by Georgia Cook, but I also really enjoyed Transference by Theo Treadaway. I think those are my top two. If you had to, stays it to my head, told me I had to pick one. I can't pick one favorite story from Manoeuvres. It would have to be Remnants and Transference. They are both equally just amazing stories. I just really loved what they did for the characters of War Room, and the stories that they did for this box set. So those two in particular, Remnants and Transference, the highlights of this box set, but every story in here was fantastic. Really, probably, this box set in particular is definitely going to go into consideration into the top 10, my top 10 big finish of 2023. It really is. This is a really good box set, and fans of the Gallifrey series will definitely enjoy this one. So if I had to rate it, easy 9 out of 10. This is an easy 9 out of 10 box set. So yeah, it's going to be a bit hard to recommend it for like just anyone, because this is really more for like those who have listened to the Gallifrey series, who have had these connections with these characters, who love them or hate them, all of that. So yeah, as I said a couple of times now, Gallifrey fans will definitely enjoy this box set. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for War Room 2 Manoeuvres. And the cover by, let me get the credits here, the cover by Tom Newsom. Now I think it's the same artist as the first War Room box set, I believe. Yes, it was. Same artist for the first for Allegiance. I did like the cover for Allegiance, but for War Room 2, I think the composition, the placement of characters is definitely much better. So I think this is a improved cover. I really like this cover a bit better. So Manoeuvres cover better than Allegiance's. Seeing the Berserker Dalek, it's great. Really, just really good. It's a great cover. So everything about this box set is just really, really good. It's a fantastic release. Big finish. You're doing some good work, okay? I have some problems sometimes with certain stuff, but then you come back around and you show me why I love your stuff so much, okay? So yes, Gallifrey War Room 2 Manoeuvres, 9 out of 10. An amazing, fantastic, interesting box set. So that is it for my review. Thank you everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Make sure to tune into our live streams. Make sure to check out any of my previous reviews, or hopefully stay tuned for future reviews. That's it. I'll see you next time. Ciao.